Now in this video I have an old AWA, it did say radiola by the look of it, which was their brand name, Transistor 8. And that is the wrong knob. That's some old valve radio knob on there. The other knobs are missing. This was only a cheapo one, very beaten up basically. Paint all over it, so it survived in someone's workshop again by the look of it. Got the old weird 9-volt connector, I believe it is. Oh yeah, this one at least says what it is, 9-volt battery, Eveready 276-P. Aerial, alternative orange lead to external aerial. Oh, that's this thing here, is it? You can, I guess, press that down and it comes out, yeah. Or you can hook it to chassis like that. Orange lead to earth for internal aerial or car use. Car use. Ooh. Looks like we may have, is that a car antenna socket there? It's got something in it. Oh, external supply. Okay, so it's made to plug into probably a 12-volt battery, or maybe via a 9-volt reducer. I guess. Oh, this, I know what this is. This is one of these bayonet connectors, which the early car radios used. That's it. Turn, that's like a light globe base. A push and turn. So that must have been a thing with car radios once upon a time, because I've seen that older ones that have used that. So this is, I guess, going back to the 60s or somewhere. I mean, it's transistorized, isn't it? So it probably is 60s. Oh, we've got a Arts and P label in there. I can't remember if they have a date on those. I don't think they do. It's a, I reckon that's going to be the model number, B30. Is it 31 or 81? 31, I think. 147 there, earth. It's quite an old one, early transistor by the look of it. I don't think these gave you a date. Number 9. Domestic use, blah blah blah. Post office licensing. I don't know when the post office license ended, but I think that was in the 60s sometimes. This is probably early 60s. Large old school tuning cap. At least all the dial seems to be strung and everything, even though we haven't got a knob. And there's the pointer. We've got all the radio stations around Australia. I think another one you can tell is, where's 7HO? That moved at some point, I think. In my memory it was always 7HO was up higher somewhere, but turns out it was below ZR. Below AD, 7AD up north. Don't know why, I always thought that, I think it was like ZR, HO, HT was my memory, but unless it did change later. But I think I did find out it was on the lower position. Maybe it started in a higher position on some radios. But I think they did move it at some point. Like very early on, maybe the 40s, 50s kind of era. And we've got a broken corner. Okay, this circuit board's been unsoldered. It looks like it's soldered onto the chassis. Part number 39623. Patent Reynolds. Don't know who Reynolds are. And do we have a maker of the case anywhere or a date on that? Sometimes these, I don't know if they're real leather or fake leather or whatever it is. Sometimes they give you a maker's name. Doesn't look like this one's got one. No, no other markings. I think it's more like a cardboard type device with maybe vinyl over it or something. Looks kind of cotton baxy. I'll say that's some sort of vinyl type material. I guess we can hook it up and see what it does. Can I get that wire out of there a bit more? There we go. And we've got some old black micro cap or something. Doesn't look like your average Australian thing. Made in Australia. That's probably a Ducon or something. Yeah, big Ducon electro there. Transformer, almost looks Japanese or something, but can't see any dates. Quite a large speaker, another one of those black caps on it. It looks like a cotton coated wire of some sort. Oh, does that go back to the antenna? Possibly back to the car antenna. It looks like that might come into a tap on the rod antenna. And where does this power socket go? It goes to the power switch. And the black wire... No, I can't really see. Be interested to know whether that's rated for 12. I doubt it would have a regulator down from 12 volts. Oh, there's the speaker number. 5AAA436.408-80 doesn't really tell me anything. IF cans, I've got big stamps on them, but 75 microfarad 10 volt cap. Yeah, I think we'll hook her up. Let's see what it does. So that's our negative. And we need power. Yeah, it's still on 9 volts probably from the last one. Now, I've got to turn this, click it on. Seems rather dead. Power supply output is on. Oh well, looks like we're going to have to do a bit of fault finding here. I wish I could see where the power... There's a white wire that goes to that socket. I'm not seeing where the power switch actually switches. Power, where's the red wire go? That goes to that capacitor. We got some sort of, what's this pot? I can't see where a single wire goes in this thing. It's a kind of brown wire, that goes to a pot. Why would it go to a pot? Well, that's not even connected to the red, so that doesn't matter. It may be positive chassis, I think. I don't know how that power gets back. Is there another wire going up there somewhere? Must be. Possibly in that shielded wire. What comes out of that? The blue? What goes to the volume control? That's a shielded, oh, that would be the shielded audio. Back to that other pot. What is the other pot? Tone, maybe? Nice that they put labels on things. Oh, let's make sure the power supply is actually outputting a voltage as far as these clip leads and stuff. You can't trust anything. Yeah, 8.2, so it's a bit lower than it says it is. But that's not going to harm anything. 8.7, that'll do. What's this capacitor? Probably an output cap or something. Oh no, we've got 8.4 volts there. So I wonder if that's, I was just looking at that thinking maybe that's the output. Oh, that's that big Duke-on cap. Interesting, so we've got an open circuit audio or something. I don't think that's actually, that goes to the volume control, I think. Oh, it's the wrong side. That is, it's not L, it's this black wire which goes to the switch. I wonder if this socket bypasses something. That's what I'm probably seeing here. Where does that black wire go? Oh, that's the black wire comes across. Yes, I think the power comes in through that 12 volt power socket in the switch, and that probably out this white wire through the switch, up a black wire to there. So I've got a switch negative possibly. And I think, like I say, I'm pretty sure we've got positive earth here. Yeah. Now, is that actually connected to here? It is. Well, the fact that cap's got voltage on it must be, even though it's unsoldered from the chassis. And I think this wire will come up to that socket, out of that socket, and then up to L there. To our capacitor. What's that thing? A resistor. Oh, not much of a resistor at that. There's another resistor here. That's quite low. This must be B plus via R27. So we've got positive is the chassis. Oh, wait up. Yeah, that's the negative, I think. Yeah, 8.2, so that's via R20. So I'm guessing this is the main sort of rail. That looks like a transistor, maybe. Comes across here, we've got another resistor, 7.8 on the other side. 7.4, so maybe they're just dropping the voltage down a bit. What is this? That's an IF can. So it looks a lot like, yeah, I'm guessing we've got something in the audio here. Potentially, because we've just got no sound. Now, where does... I hope that's not a broken wire on that IF. There's something hanging off it. Do we have a headphone socket or anything here? Because they're known for going open circuit. I don't think we do, which is odd. I would have thought this old thing would have one maybe, but... what is holding all this chassis together is... some of these wires need to go, I think. The speaker, is that twisted pair of wires? I cannot see the terminals. Oh yeah, twisted white wires that come up. Oops, I'll just press that bit of broken board. It comes up to this one. Oh, J and G, I think. That's probably not real promising. Or is that because we've got a voltage on it? Let's disconnect the power. Ah, now we've got even less. I think we've got an open circuit speaker. Or do we? Just getting a random sort of reading. Well, the fluke doesn't like it, whatever it is, but something tells me that is not a speaker going. That's a transistor, that's another, so I'd say that's our output pair. Although would we be running both sides of the speaker if that's what it is? Really not easy to see anything in this thing, but something's open circuit down there. I doubt it does have a cap down there. Is that a cross? I think it's across the speaker. Oh, wait up, where's the white? Yeah, it does go to the terminals, I think. Can't actually even see if they're connected, but I guess the other thing to do is just hook a speaker up there and see if that does anything. Where's the off position? There. So let's turn it up, maybe not to maximum, but G and J. Nothing. Well, it ain't that. So let's check those transistors feeding it. What do we got? Common, positive. I'm not used to doing this. It's kind of does my head in a bit when you got to measure these things. Well, we're not getting any real voltages there. I wonder if the output stage is unearthed. Let's see, there's the positive. So what we can check is the ground, I guess, that we do have. I'm not seeing anything. No, 8.38 volts. Yeah, I think we'll do it this way. 8.2, so that's not a good sign. 8.39, 8.36, so we definitely haven't got a switched on transistor. 8.2, 8.38, 8.38, so we've got an 8.7 volts. If they're labelled as transistors, we've got no kind of bias or anything. Our outputs are turned off, so if it is an open circuit speaker, there's also something dead in the amp. Where's that black wire go? Oh, we've got output transformer maybe. Oh, hang on. The emitter, no, base. Which one's base? That's the base. The base comes off the transformer. Is it one of those weird setups? And the base of this other one comes out, so that's going to be interesting. Because how do you get a DC bias when it's coming out of a transformer? That's that yellow wire comes up to where? And the germanium transistors, I think it comes, is that the transformer back to there? We're getting that weird thing again. Well, let's disconnect the voltage. I don't think that comes back to. I think it must be this other terminal here. That must be our transformer. Now you're talking 112 ohms to the base, 118 ohms to the base. That's it. Our emitter resistor is 6 ohms, pretty low. So we've got a transformer, and then we've got, oh, that's the output. Oh, what a weird design. I wonder if there's a circuit of this thing online, because this is the kind of output I am completely unfamiliar with. But it looks something like, what do we got? A couple of transistors, polarity unknown. Let's just, you got a transformer, maybe like that, into the base. Now the speaker goes to collector and collector, is it? Yep. So that's a collector, that's a collector. We've got our speaker there. Directly coupled, and one emitter goes to the positive, the other emitter, yeah, via a resistor, that comes down via a resistor, and they're joined to the positive. So that would suggest PNPs, I guess. So they're probably going in that way. And what does that feed off? That goes via a resistor to, is that the, to the negative? I guess we'll go up to the negative. That goes to the negative rail there, and possibly, I mean, it must get audio injected in here somewhere. A resistor there. That goes to the positive, so it's like in a voltage divider. And what is that, a PTC or something? A PTC and a resistor from the positive, and a, what's a PTC symbol, dot next to it or something. So they go into that transformer. So that is where your DC bias, I guess, it should be 0.6 volts negative. So it could be something in that voltage divider. I guess we should have a quick look at that. So the transformer, yeah, it's basically through the windings of the transformer. It's not like it's an isolated winding. Well, what's on the other side? Does it have another connection or two? I think it might have. Yeah, it does have a primary or secondary on the transformer. A blue wire that comes up to here, to another transistor. So I wonder if they're injecting, and I wonder if the secondary of the transformer or whatever is putting a DC bias on the transistors, and then they've got a, I guess we should really put it in a primary winding that they're feeding the audio into. I'm guessing it's something weird like that. So that's our cap, that's our transformer common or whatever, center tap, So that's our transistor has 8.49. This is basically pulled down to this via R29, but it should be pulled up. There's 8.3 there. That resistor there. Oh, there it is, 8.3. Wait, what? Oh. So there's 8.3 on that winding. But then that should come out. Oh, it does. That's right, we're getting voltage, there's just no difference. Well, actually, these are germaniums, so they're not going to be as high. I think these are lower voltage drop, aren't they? 0.1. That's still pretty rubbish. I don't know that these output transistors are much good, so I wonder if someone's done something nasty to the amp. They're both measuring 0.1. I mean, I think 0.1 is pretty low even for a germanium. So that's another complication. They're definitely in metal cases like germanium, so I'm guessing. Oh, well, let's do a quick static test of these transistors. PNP, you reckon? Yeah, 0.1. 0.1. Okay, we've got 0.2 across the output in one direction and not the other. PNP, 0.1. 0.1, so maybe that is normal. Maybe 0.1 voltage across. But we've still got no audio. So we've got voltages, possibly got good outputs, possibly not, I don't know. Let's find some other transistors in here. And that's always a problem when you're not familiar with them, is what are you even looking at? So that's another PNP, I'm guessing. They probably used them right through here. 0.1, 0.19, so put around 0.2 or thereabouts. That says B. Is it a base? I see an emitter. I can't see a transistor there. Must be more of them here somewhere. That's a bit higher at 0.2. I would have been a bit happy with that sort of reading, is what I remember them being, at least that sort of 0.26, 0.23. Yeah, that I think is more germanium like. It's got some gooey stuff on there. It's just a bit of muck and holding the dust on, I think. So I don't know, are these outputs any good? .14, are they getting slightly higher than they were? For all I know, they could be leaky to ground or something. Why was I not measuring a speaker? There's the other weird thing. Find it strange. Now it's possible an 8 ohm speaker's too low for this anyway. Maybe we've got more than one thing faulty here. How do I get this? Can I get this chassis out of this thing? I think there's a couple of screws. Well, I was hoping it would be something nice and simple. Usually it's fairly quick to diagnose these things, but when it comes to germaniums, who knows? Especially ones this old. And of course they've used, I think, brass screws, as I often did. Magnetic washers, but the screws are non-magnetic, just to make life difficult. Flathead, and that hasn't undone a thing. That might actually undo the front panel. It's got a great big die cast piece, so I can see some bolts. How do you get this thing out? There's no screws there. Oh, there's a screw coming through there. Oh no, something's coming loose. Oh wait, what the? I think we're going to unscrew the handle. Of course, it had to be something weird like that. That's holding the antenna rod plastic bracket thing on. is helping to keep everything together, I think. So, oh yeah, that comes out from under there. That should loosen this top up a bit. And what have I got to... We might want to unplug our thing, and we do still have a knob on the front of this, don't we? We better get rid of that. So I've got a grub screw. Someone out there probably really wants one of these knobs for something. But who knows what it's off. Some sort of valve radio there. And I really want the originals. That's not much of a grub screw either. I think that has moved slightly. If I do much more though, I'm going to rip the edges off it. All it'll probably do is make it harder to grip with the screwdriver. I think I'm going to have to break this one off. I'm starting to wonder whether someone started trying to pull this to bits, took the knobs off, started pulling the board off, and then realised this was jammed on and gave up. So it's quite possible something like that might have happened. Yeah, that's not going anywhere, I don't think. I guess we could try forcing it off sideways. But I think this poor old Bakelite knob's days are numbered. These things normally stick on really well. Something's going to crack. Ooh, it sort of came off. I think it left the rest of it on there. So it wasn't the grub screw holding it on. I think someone's already broken this. That's probably why, yeah, it's our all died. Oh well, that's the end of that poor old thing. Though it was already ended long before I got to it by the look of it. Is that going to come? Still being a pain. Oh, I think that's the antenna. Ah, here we go. It's just very tight in there, I think. Okay, let's get rid of that. Need to beat the speaker grill back into position anyway. Quite a dirty old speaker. Probably doesn't think much better of me. So I wonder if the /80 is an 80 ohm. Didn't I look at something recently that had some ridiculously high impedance speaker? Oh, maybe that little HMV record player thing. Did that have a speaker in it? Oh, they had external speakers, but yeah, I think they were. Well, if that was 80 ohms, it doesn't seem to be 80 ohms anymore. Oh, hang on. We do have another terminal. I wonder if one of those is just a... Oh, it looks like it does go to the voice coil though. It looks very green, but I think that's... Yeah, we're still none the better off. Oh no, there's three connections to this speaker. Oh god, they're corroded. Oh, that one's come loose. Yeah, well, oh god, it's just broken off completely, I think. Where'd it go? Well, it's disappeared where maybe it went down inside the speaker there. Is that it over there? But that wire just completely fell apart. Yeah, that's some fluff. I don't know where the hell it went, but it broke off, so there's now a gap between the terminal and the where it goes through the speaker. Oh, here's another one. Oh, that's probably the piece. Did it get all the way over there? Yeah, that's the connecting wire. It's just sort of green mess. The other one's probably not much better. Yeah, when I touch that, it just breaks. So that speaker's completely corroded out and shot. So that would suggest that this should maybe it doesn't like the 8 ohms. Could put a resistor in series, I guess, or maybe there's a second issue. But this radio is definitely not going again in any proper way. So there's our little transformer that's hooked up to Those output transistors, 2 output transistors and heat sinks there. They're only little, no, they are the standard sort of germaniums. I doubt many of these capacitors are the best either. And yeah, the other side of the transformer is that wire, and it goes to the actual switch port. It goes to one of the rails. Well, we're switching the negative, I think. But there is a third connection, and I think it's connected to the speaker. Yeah, it's got 3. Oh, there you can see them. 1, 2, 3. I think I better get a circuit for this thing. That's probably why we're not getting any sound hooking across those other 2 wires. What's the bet there's some weirdo path through this speaker or something? I don't think I've ever seen a 3-terminal speaker before. Is that possibly a first for me? At least not one that's, you know, not dual impedance kind of thing. There are subwoofers and stuff that are dual impedance, I think, that might have 2 different windings. I can't remember, but I think I've seen that in car subwoofers or something. But yeah, what a weird... That was what I was hooking across these 2 white wires. And we can finally see the circuit board at least. So these are old AWA transistors or something. Yeah, they are by the look of it. So that's the AWA, Australian Amalgamated Wireless Valve Company, I think it is. So they are genuine. Yeah, there's an AWA there. At least they made their own transistors for it. Some AEE capacitors. Not sure if that's anything to do with them. Might be a good idea to put an ESR meter on a few of these caps just to see if they're completely shot or not. That one's alright. Probably alright. Got our big filter cap there. Yeah, I'm guessing they're not too bad. They're still intact to some degree. Where is that one? Must be, at least they mark it on the back of the board. 0.2, that's nice and low. And oh yeah, these horrible red looking, they don't look the best, these red capacitors. 3.7, could be a bit high. 2.8, certainly measuring higher than the others. And 4.2. Well, that was a 75 microfarad, so that's probably pretty shot. .7. That's not that bad if it's somewhere between a 47 and 100, and it's 10 volts, so it's a low voltage. Yeah, it's not that bad. So it goes to show. But we've got a weirdo speaker, so that's gonna be the death of this thing, I think. But I'm not gonna see if I can find a circuit for this thing. Get an idea what on earth this output is. Well, good old Radio Museum had the circuit, and it is every bit as crazy as it sounds. Looks like, yeah, the audio comes through here, through the volume control. We've actually got an NPN transistor there by the look of it, a 2N608 or something. But that drives the primary of that transformer between, well, what is ground and -9 volt. And your center tapped output, like I said, resistor to each side of the rails. On the center tap, comes out straight into the base of those output transistors. A 2N217, or both are 2N2N2, both of them are 2N217s. And then it comes into a center tapped 80 ohm speaker. And they've actually got -9 and 9 volt there, which I don't know if you're going to get that out of that. And then the center tap goes to the -9 rail. So you're certainly going to get -9 on one side, I guess. I would have thought on both sides. Because I mean, that's just a low resistance. We've got a couple of capacitors feeding back. By the look of it, yeah, power comes in, well, that'd be the plug, positive to ground, and on the outside of that socket for the car or external power, yeah, and then through a switch, battery switch, then the switch in the pot, the volume on off switch, and through a 27 ohm resistor. Pretty much everything I already sort of found. The rest of it's just all your IF stages, and I guess the detector is around here somewhere, and that feeds, yeah, into our volume. Was there a tone control? Oh, tone, yeah, the other one is tone. Oh, there's our detector diode there, MR2. So basically IF detected through a preamp, I guess, volume control, transformer driver, push-pull output stage, I'm guessing. Yeah, they go to ground. And so that's how they've kind of set it up to split the rail, I guess, through two windings in the transformer, in the speaker. Looks like a transformer. So yeah, very weird setup. They did some weird stuff in these early transistors. I never had much to do with them. They were pretty much just rubbish. No one really wanted them fixed because no one wanted to spend money on them. You just went and bought a boombox or something, mono cassette player or whatever. Even just a transistor, more modern transistor radio was so cheap that these sort of old things, they just sort of, but a lot of these just hung on and like this one in someone's workshop and kept going. Now the only other option, I guess, is can I carefully peel this stuff away and maybe hook onto the fine wire going down into the speaker. We may be able to reconnect, even if not with the best wires. That's about the only option left. I don't think I can do much other than that to really resurrect this thing. Cone seems to be alright, so it's just, yeah, the wires between these terminals on the back. You can see that green one there, which no doubt I can just tear out of there like so, and that's just a corroded bit of copper. Don't know why, whether it was the environment this was in or they're particularly prone to corroding those ones. Problem is they got this sort of glue stuff all over them, and somewhere under that glue is a very fine wire which is easy to break. But maybe if we can get these, they've left a bit of wire sticking through. If there's anything, if that's tinned, which it is, well, look at it, we might be able to just solder onto these bits here. I've just got to be careful that when I cut this stuff off, I'm not cutting the little fine wire going down. Maybe just heating it with a soldering iron is a better idea. Well, that's, yeah, that's nicely tinned by the look of it. And this one's not so easy. Can I just snip that off? Oh yeah, there we go. I can see silver solder. So we may be able to cheat here, assuming that it doesn't have other faults, but I'm guessing that's why the output stage is dead and can't just be hooked up to another speaker. Worth a try. If that doesn't fix it, I think she's going to be a bin job. Maybe salvage the transistors out of it and turf the rest, because I can't see much point in actually keeping it. I don't remember ever pulling an old radio apart that had a speaker like this. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I think I would remember something like that, because it would have been rather weird. I mean, these were so old even when I was a kid that you almost wouldn't bother salvaging anything out of these things if you did see one, because they were just ancient. What I can do is, I guess, unsolder the wires from the back even and just solder them to the front. And of course they've wrapped them right around the terminals, no doubt. That's got it. So that went to this back one, I think. Not going to be very good for the speaker's movement, but we should get some sort of muffled sound out of it. Actually, I might have to get the other two wires first. I don't know if we need that capacitor across there. Maybe we do. Probably as part of the circuit. That's a bit of a pain if we've got to mount the capacitor there. Can we mount that on the other end of the wires maybe? I'll try and take that off. I guess I can just snip it off. Well, that's a good thing they stuck so much wire through and left it there, because normally you don't get that. You can sometimes peel the stuff back very carefully, but if it's not much there, then there's a risk that just pulling the glue off will tear the connection to that little tiny wire going down in the actual voice coil. So generally I don't try repairing speakers, but some of this random old stuff, it's getting to the point where you have to. Oh, I knew that would happen. One of them had to come off when I soldered the cap on. But it'd be nice to hear a sound out of it if it is actually running. Can I mount that back with a screw? Not really. Oh, well, let's hook her up and see if anything happens. We may get a bit of a rattly sound out of it. Or we may still get nothing. And I think it's nothing. Well, that's annoying. So let's have a look. Oh, oh, we've got a motorboat. Well, something might get going eventually. Ooh. Changes the speed of it, I think. Got a scratchy pot. That kind of gets rid of it. It makes a weird noise. I think that's full volume. Gotta love these old things and the weird things they do. Do we need the chassis? Ah. Seems to be better with the chassis connected back. Ah, yeah. So it goes to show someone disconnecting the chassis has added another problem. Let's try and solder the board at least to one pin. These finicky old things. But the new things are known for doing weird stuff with the chassis connected in some of them, just to make life difficult. I think there's actually a bit of hash sound there. So it's kind of working. Where is the antenna in there, I guess? Should pick up on its own though. Wow. So it goes to show it was mainly the speaker that was dead. There we go. Where is my antenna? Come here. Come on, where's the station? I wonder if we need the rest of this thing hooked up. I might try to hook this board back in place just in case. I shouldn't, they're all joined together, so I shouldn't, but you never know. Doesn't want to solder to it anyway. What was that thing about the earth? Don't know. Oh, sure I can hear something there. There. Definitely a voice there. No local stations though. Just disconnect that from earth, do anything. Here's something. What's that connector there? That's what it is somewhere. Well, not much there. That popping sound of the electric fence here. That regular pop. Now I want to see if this voltage is anything like they say on here. There's our -9. There's our -8. And there's that -8. I would have thought it'd be negative on both sides. I don't think there's any way that could be 9 on one side. So maybe they got that wrong on the circuit. Yeah, so our outputs are operating with a very small voltage drop. Shows how leaky these germanium things are. 0.1 volts or 1.3. But that amp does seem to work, even with that low drop there. Yeah, 0.2 volts there. Now none of those electrode caps look completely shot, so there's something else up Wouldn't be surprised if half these transistors are just about shot. Is that the actual transistor? This thing's awfully low. That's a 0 there. Oh, there it is, 0.16. Oh, that's the one I checked. There's another one down here somewhere. Can't quite make out where it is. 0.18. But that noise could be just coming through the actual amp itself, I guess. Now it seems to have vanished. Is that the fault where they get all the radio stations on top of each other? It sounds something like that. Yeah, I think that's what it's got. But yeah, I believe there was a fault in radios where you could sort of get all the channels squashed up one end of the band. So everything seems to behave like it's working. Right back to the tuning cap. But maybe the actual tuning circuit itself isn't working, not sure. That reminds me, I saw this wire here that looks disconnected. That might be it. Which pin did it go to? Oh, that was that one I was... Oh, that one's got something connected to it. It must have gone to this one here. I forgot about that. I did notice that a while back. It looked like there was another wire hanging off. Can I tin it? I may have done so, I can't really tell. So fine. Yeah, that's got it. I'm guessing it went to the terminal right next to it there. Geez, it holds some heat. Okay. I think I got that on there. Now, where's something very fine? Is the one next to it still connected? I think it is. Yep. Don't know that it's going to miraculously fix the thing, but it's got to help. Certainly a lot of noise, yeah. Oh, is that a radio station?
The community of roughly 300 people.
Pop's pretty well had it.
In welfare. welfare provision.
Well, there you go. It was something visual that was wrong with it. Possibly someone fiddling around with it bumped that, or maybe it's related to the other corrosion. I need to give that pot a clean. Let's get down on that, give it a clean. Even feels a bit looser, which is good. Well, someone's glued that knob on really tight, so it's kind of scraping against the threaded part of the shaft. Oh well, I'll be damned. That's probably got this old clunker going again. So I can probably put some flexible sort of wire in there.
I'm not sure if you're aware of them, Philip, but I really... Well, this collective of women have been weaving as part of their culture forever. And what...
I think we need to also clean the tone control.
The technology that they've developed in Central Australia has taken the visual arts world by storm. Much in demand. I'm hoping to be able to invite them down to
you can cop anything.
Right. And but I just said the other thing, that was one thing about that law which I couldn't understand. Here's a Labour Party. And who can be more compassionate women, and then
Claim every expense available to maximise your refund. rjsanderson.com.au.
Hi, it's Garrett Poole. Join me for Giddy Up with Garrett Poole 5 days a week, every weekday morning, right here on SBS Track. You're listening to This Is Your Journey with Sam Edmonds for Tobin Brothers Funerals, a family-owned business since 1934. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating life.
Hello, we hope you enjoyed this week's edition of This Is Your Journey. Today's guest is a former Golden Girl of the Fall freestyle great Jodie Henry is with us. Since 2000. There's terrific shops and takeaway places and everything else, but there's some...
I'm still playing that song since the 80s, so there we go. So it looks like you can probably patch this thing up and actually get it running again. Amazing, even though it's hardly worth it in the condition it's in. It goes to show you can pretty much get anything going again if you want to. And luckily this old stuff was a bit more made in a way that you could cheat like that. Look at the poor thing. That's quite funny. Better be careful I don't actually rip something off there. Though, what is the best way to get that back through? I guess you could punch another little hole in the paper cone and run a wire through there. Is probably the way to do it. I guess, I don't know if I've got any old speakers. I've got to just pinch a bit of that type of flexi cable off an old speaker. I mean, you could use a bit of, maybe they're hard to solder to, old telephone cable or something, but I guess something that's just light and not too hard, reasonably flexible, will probably do the job for this sort of standard. It's not exactly hi-fi, just so it lets the speaker cone move around without pulling it back or anything. But that's probably the dodgiest speaker repair I've ever done. Just trying to think of a light duty, oh I know, like a tone arm, bit of tone arm wiring or something, which I used to have some of. I do have a couple of old record players somewhere. I don't know if I can find a bit of old flexible tone arm cable. That's the sort of thing that's perfect for this sort of job. And just out of interest, that's the coil there, which looks like it's this one down here, T3, because it's got this C14 connected to it. Got this transistor driving into it. Got the, where is it, 220 ohm resistor also attached. So I think it's that one. I noticed the transistor, they've got oscillator written next to it. So maybe that's a local oscillator, which may explain something about why it couldn't separate out the different channels. But it looks like it's got two gangs. They're showing two gangs, but there's at least one gang of that tuning cap comes down this orange wire, middle gang there, to a tag strip. Don't know why it has a tag strip, because there's nothing on the other terminal, and it just joins to another orange wire which comes down to that coil, and you've got C14 across a couple of pins. So maybe that's something to do with the local oscillator, but anyway, that's what was, which pin was it? This one, which yeah, the one that actually the input of that capacitor comes in was broken off, so the tuning cap, whatever it does, I think it's that pin 2 there, was basically disconnected from this coil, so whatever effect it has on, I guess, changing the frequency of the oscillator or something, was not happening. So I thought I'd just have a look and see what that actually was out of interest, even though they don't really label on the circuit what anything does. And I don't know enough about radios to recognise which part of the circuit's which. But one thing I did find is an old BSR turntable, and we've got a bit of this fine wire, so I think we'll cut some of that off and just hook our speaker up with that. Just punch a little hole in the cardboard, see if we can get that all hooked up again, because I doubt I'm ever going to do anything with this turntable. I probably should go over it and see if it actually works sometime. I'll just cut a section of that out. Hopefully these strip all right, because they're rather fine cable normally. It just, don't know if I've got many other strands there, that's the only problem. So I guess the other risk is these may break off after a while, because they're not really made for this sort of job. They're going to get a lot of flexing, like constant all the time, so they're probably not ideal. Not that this radio is ever likely to really get any use. It's more just a case of seeing if I can resurrect the old thing. Just for the hell of it. I never really did much radio repairs, so it's always interesting to have a play with them. And yeah, these old ones are always fascinating, the way these early transistor circuits, they really did some weird sort of stuff. Compared to all the later ones, just tended to be the same standard transistor radio design. Pretty much open any of them up, they're all pretty well identical, I think. Whereas these early ones, they did some weird and wonderful stuff. Like, yeah, this center tapped coil speaker, which is certainly an oddball thing, and a very sort of specialist part, whereas they all became much more standardized with very standard parts later on, as most things did. So there's a black wire to the oddball bit there, and the whites to the other one. I doubt it matters which way they go. Don't think that's in any way polarized. Or is it a micro cap type W48? 0.5 microfarad, 200 volts, A302, 3164. I wonder if 6.4 is a year. So what we need to do is solder these back to the terminals. And then run our wires from the terminals through the cone and onto those terminals on the other side. Looks like these were originally looped over or something, but I'm just going to stick them on one side. Get that cap back in there. As they draw a bit of heat, these terminals. Black wire there. So it's basically 4 broken wires in this thing, or they weren't all technically broken, but I certainly wasn't measuring anything to the speaker. So what I'll do, I think, is just find out my little tiny screwdriver I've got here somewhere. So I think we'll just punch a little hole. I'm not sure that hole's going to be big enough actually for this wire. Let's see if it goes through. Oh, it does. I might even, actually that should be the black wire I guess, but not that it really matters. But let's get a length for this thing too. We want to go through there a bit, so we don't need very long. I might strip it first. It's going to be a bit risky trying to strip it. I can go a bit longer than we need is probably better, because I don't want to be pulling on it while it's attached to the speaker. Oops, cut right through it then. There we go. Will it poke through the hole? It should do. Don't see why not. Tinned end should be easy to get through in theory. Oops, nearly went right through. Well, it's going to be a bit messy, that solder joint. But that's all we really got to do on each of them. That's the first one done. That seems to be lifting up a bit, which is a bit of a worry, but it's holding the other wire in place, I think, so it's alright. Now where's the terminal? Under there. We just need to go this side, I guess. Well, I can't say I've ever fixed many speakers, especially not for this problem. But you don't have much choice with this stuff anymore, especially these older radios. You never would have had any choice with these ones, because unless you're back in the 60s or something, you'd be lucky to get a speaker for it. Never know, someone might have new old stock I guess out there somewhere, but it's certainly an oddball part, this one. Now we're going to try and get it so it comes back out the hole in the back. There we are. Doesn't look the best. Hard to get a good connection on this sometimes. Yeah, I think that's attached alright. course the other wire's coming off. I might just poke that down on top of the little one, and then it should stay there. And where's my other bit? What was I going to use? The red one? Guess I could use the other half of the white one just to make it the right colour, but this is not exactly a restoration or anything. Yeah, of course it's going in the wrong place. I think the old bit of wire is still hanging on there, so I might get rid of that because it's good short to the speaker frame. There it is. Doubt it'll matter if only one of them shorts the speaker frame, but still. Oops, nearly lost it. Okay, let's see if it actually is intact, I guess. Geez, 100 ohms, and this should be a center tap, I guess. 50 ohms. 50 ohms, I mean if it's there to one of them, it should be there to both of them, but that is one strange old speaker, that's for sure. Yeah, which side did the terminals go? I'm not even sure how they sat in there. Like that, I think. Certainly not working very well. It is working, but not the best reception, that's for sure. Very noisy and not coming through real great. That could be these old germanium transistors or maybe some other problem, but it's basically sort of resurrected as good as it's going to get, I think. Given that the case is in rubbish condition and stuff, it's not really worth doing any more with it. I might solder this wire back onto the battery connector because it does have that external connection if I ever wanted to hook it up, which, given what it sounds like, I don't think I will. Someone who didn't know how to solder has been in here. So I think we're going to shove it back in its case, and it might be okay as a sort of display piece. Not that the case is particularly good either. I might try and get those dents out of it. Can I clean the dial up a little bit better? Not sure if I'm game to clean on the inside. You've got to be a little careful with some of these or you rub all the letters off them, but I guess we can give it a go. And I don't think it's as bad as a lot of our ones. It looks like they've actually attached these better. Maybe it sticks better to the plastic than to the glass. But you do have to be very careful. There's a big crack in that anyway, so it's not like it's a good dial even. I think it looks a bit better now. Could do with a bit of a repaint as well. needs some actual paint taken off it where it's been a builder's radio or workshop radio. So it's a pretty rough old thing. Not surprising. Can we scrape that off without destroying the grill? Sort of. Need to put that on something flat. Maybe even just the roller solder will do though. That's not very flat on the end. Let's use the grease bottle. And I think I'll just bash it down with some pliers. Will do for getting it something like what it should be. Certainly hasn't got rid of all of it. Oh, it looks a lot better than it did. It's still bent in a bit there. I think we'll just leave it like that. Shame the old radiola badge is gone. Looks like that's actually melted, put through and melted on. Looks like it's made out of plastic or something like plastic. Don't know if they even had thermoplastics, but looking at that radio dial, they probably did by then. And better get the dust out of there, I guess. Oops, radio dial, radio antenna rod keeps coming out. God, it really doesn't want to go in there. It is, I think. Now the fun part, trying to get non-magnetic screws. Okay, let's see if we can, I guess, get a washer down there. Let's see if we can get that in there. Slightly magnetic pliers. Horrible idea. I wonder if I can get a screwdriver down the middle of those pliers and try and get it started. That's not really a big enough screwdriver, but yeah, that'll work. Can I tip that screw up into the hole? I think I kind of can. That's it, that's it. Yeah, forget the washer. What a horrible design that is. They obviously had all day to do it, or maybe in the factory they had a special jig to get that down in there. I guess with enough practice you'd probably get good at it. And we've got to screw the top back on. Wait, what went where? Yeah, that did go under there. And that's the washer, and should be two of these screws. And of course they're Phillips head, not flat like the ones inside it. Another thing Australians like to do, random selection of screws between hex head, flat head, Phillips head. Well, let's got it back together. Something is different.
mentored by an elder. I felt intimidated because they knew a lot of things.
Oof.
I'm not really doing this, but then I was like, no, because you know, you're going to keep doing this because I'm not on the first and above this. So you're going to start speaking. and your kids are gonna do it, and so your grandkids are just like it. I'm doing this for a reason, and I know that we need to put aside, like for myself, you know, put aside that silly little thought and just keep going forward. So yeah, I think I would get taken back learning as an adult, but then it was just like, oh no, you know, I've got this, I can do it. So yeah. Making sure everything's all good.
So yeah, not sure what's doing that, but it's still a bit microphonic and stuff. Maybe one of the old transistors, maybe some other dodgy connection there somewhere. But it's a very beaten up old radio. Certainly done well to last this long. But it was worth resurrecting, I think, just out of interest. But yeah, it's not even a particularly nice looking radio. I'll probably look alright on a shelf somewhere, but really needs some knobs. I guess I could find something more suitable for this era and just stick them on, glue them on or whatever.
Hello, here we go, and then it's like, oh yep, hello, my name is, so do an introduction.
So it shows it can pick up alright. I think it was working better last night. For some reason tonight it's not so good, but I think that's ZL that we're meant to be on, so it's a little bit off anyway.
The sky.
But at least it's basically working again. I've got the speaker resurrected, and that'll probably be fine like that. Don't know about in the long term, it might vibrate a bit too much for that wire or something, but should be pretty good for a long time, I would think. And yeah, I don't know, it was playing up a bit when I was touching the tuning cap, so I don't know if it's anything related to that. Parts of this board have come loose again, which probably doesn't help. Maybe I should re-solder that down, because I think that was causing a few issues. Try and get a ton of heat in there. I think it's coming loose again everywhere. That may be our issue. I didn't attach it too well, so let's try heating it up properly till you can see the whole solder blob melt. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I reckon it's come loose completely. And it did seem to get upset when it wasn't attached to the chassis. That one doesn't want to go on at all. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's try it one more time. Shows how picky these things are. Black and red. Still just as bad.
Getting them to actually just a lot of sentences and things can put on all there in that list, but it's always up to the mum for what they learn at home and keep going with them back at home and everywhere else.
I really love the idea of these little ones thinking that you don't know English and that they have to, for your sake, they have to sort it out.
Yeah, that's the best thing, because yeah.
Yep. Killed it.
It's like, oh, you don't really want to contaminate the space where it's so unique to them to learn their language without English being in there. So she's like, no, you need to culture, you know, I know what to say.
Look, something's really sensitive around there. don't think we've got any dry joints there, but after messing around with a little transistor radio with bad transistors in it, this is sounding a lot the same, the tin whisker disease, so it may well have a bit of tin whisker problems in the transistors. That's the sort of thing you'll get with them. You can tap on them, you can heat them and so on, and they'll do various things. I must finish off that other little radio I got, because that actually did a really good demonstration of what they get like. But anyway, that's as good as I'm going to get with this one, I think. Let's see if we can, I guess, clip the back on. And there you have it, your little radio that could also be used as a car radio. And yeah, pretty well had it stay, this one. Very rough. And still got issues, but at least I got the worst of it going. So thanks for watching.